Okay, I'm going to run you through the setup of the MikroTik RouterBOARD SXT series, which is typically used to send internet signal from one point to another. You know, in our case, it's a summer camp where we have the internet coming in at one cabin, and we want to get it about 600 feet away, up a hill, through some trees. So to do that, we picked up a couple of these MikroTik SXT router boards. Small looking, and what I'm going to show you is how to set these things up. First suggestion is get a piece of paper and some tape and write on the particular router what IP address you set it to, so you're going to remember which is which. Otherwise you get pretty confused. The units come with a power over Ethernet injector, power supply, and you get to supply your own network cable. Right now I'm on the bandwidth test screen, and you can see that they're busy talking to each other. We're going to change that in a hurry, because the first thing we're going to do is reset this particular router totally, so it's right back to factory default. So over on the left hand side here, you've got of course it'll be easier to see when you have the screen in front of you, but you've got a series of menu options over on the left hand side, and the first thing I'm going to do is go into System and then go down to Reset Configuration, and then choose Reset Configuration here. Do you want to reset? OK, and the router is now going to take itself right back to factory defaults. One of the things it's going to do is it'll change its IP address to the factory default of 192.168.88.1. So I'm going to go, and this is a Windows 8 machine where I've already turned off my Wi-Fi so that the MikroTik is plugged directly into the laptop. Less confusion that way. And I'm going to go into Network and Sharing Center, and within there, picking the Ethernet, which is the hardwired connection. I'll right-click it. I'll choose Properties. Within Properties, I'll slide the thing to the bottom to choose Internet Protocol version 4 TCP IPv4, and then choose Properties. Within that, you can see I've already got a fixed IP address because I was playing around with it. So I'm now going to change that IP address to the default, matching the same network as what the router's defaulted to. So I'm making my laptop IP address 192.168.88.11, leaving the subnet mask to the default of 255.255.255.0, and changing the default gateway, which points to the router, to be 192.168.88.1. And then I click on OK, and I click on Close, and I give it a few seconds to think about life, and I go back into my browser, and I change the IP address to 192.168.88.1. Now, if it's like the last time, did I get that right? Yeah, I did. Okay. If it's like the last time I did this, the first few times I hit enter, it's not going to connect. Maybe because the, oh, look at that, it came right up. Well, that's amazing. I think it was because last time I did it too quickly. So anyway, here's your default login screen to the router. It pre-fills it in with login admin, and the password is left as blank, which is the default password when you first get the router. So you click on login, and it starts loading, and it brings up this quick set page, which now because my purpose here is to make this thing a bridge, I'm going to go over to the top right and click on the bridge button, and then I'm going to set acquisition or address acquisition to static. I'm going to change its IP address, like in my particular case, I'm going to put this on 192.168.2. What was this do? This is 251. Is this particular unit? Okay. What else do I do here? oh yeah, the router identity, I think, yeah, with the router identity, this would be the name you'd give it. Now in this case, this is the one that's going to be at the far end, so I'm giving it the name MikroTik Wolf. And then I'm going to give it a password. And retype the password to make sure I didn't fat finger it. So what I've done here then is change the mode to bridge, address acquisition to static. I gave it the particular IP address I wanted. I gave it a name, differentiates it from the others, and my password. Now make sure that you click on Apply Configuration. If you leave this screen to go look at something else, you lose this, which is not fun. Now that I've applied the configuration, well, that is weird. Now it went jump. Oh yeah, okay. Well, you can see the screen jumped back to router, and then it's got, you know, different IP address. But disregard that. I think it's just a bug. Like I think it should at this point just say router's rebooting. Change your IP address. You can see there it's rebooting. Okay, now I got to go back in under my network and sharing center and change my IP address for Ethernet yet again, because now I'm no longer at that 88 range. So again, I go into properties here and I make this 192.168.1.11 for my computer, and 192.168.1. in this case 251 for the access point. MikroTik bridge router, whatever. Okay, so choose close, and it's busy identifying it. Go back into my web browser and change it now to that new address, which is 192.168.1.251. Press enter. Now we're back at the router login screen, and this time we need a password because we set it. Choose login, and it jumps. I don't know if you saw it. You can, I guess, play the thing back in slow motion, but first it went to that default quick set screen, and then it flipped to the one that I had set, which sort of threw me the first time I did this, but that's the way it is with this thing. So let me check my notes here. Okay, now I am going to set the system clock. So I go over here to system, and I go down to clock. What's going to seem weird is I'm going to get you to do the time zone name first. You're going to click on the down arrow. With any other application, you could simply use your arrow keys or your wheel on your mouse to scroll down, but not with this one. First, you got to click on any name that appears. Doesn't matter. And once you've done that, now you can click on the down arrow and use your wheel or your arrow buttons to go down normally. To me it's a bug, but maybe they call it a feature. So I am going down to North Dakota to set it, and I'm going to go change the date. Now the date, I can just click on any given position. That particular one works fine. So in this case it's June the 12th, and the year is 2015. Now, time. You'd think that you should just be able to take your mouse and click on the hour, but no, it jumps to the end. So what I discovered is that on time, you just click on the field and you put in any number you want. Once you've done that, now it'll let you go and change the hour. It's a feature. So in this case, I'm going to go 12 plus 4 is 16, because it's 4 p.m. here, and the minute is 46. And then I'll go back over to the seconds field and delete out that extra thing I put in. And I'm done. I click on apply. You see, like, daylight savings not checked, but watch. As soon as you click apply, it applies it. So, okay. Alrighty. Having done that, I'm now over here going to go to IP, which is this guy here. And within IP, I'm going to go down to DHCP server, which is here. And in it, it has one entry. I'm going to click on this box here, the minus, which gets rid of the entry. Then I'm going to go to DHCP client. Again, there's one entry. I'm going to go to the minus and click on it. So I'm getting rid of both of those. Now I'm going to go up to bridge here. Click on him. And bridge, I'm going to click on ports, which is this tab up here. And I'm going to click on add new, this button here. And it will, well, at least what it's doing now is it's pre-filling with exactly what I want. Ether1 local and bridge. So I'll click OK. Net result is you should have two rows here. One that says Ether1 local and bridge is bridge 1. And the other says WLAN 1 gateway and the bridge is bridge 1. So if you're lucky, that's what you'll get. I suppose every version of their firmware that could change, but that's what you want to end up with. Okay, now I go up here to wireless, this guy here, and I click anywhere on this first row, or the only row, and once it comes up, I click on the advanced mode button up here. And then I'm going to go down to mode, which is here. And again, it's got this drop down thing that you see when you're moving your mouse around, it's sort of jumping a bit. So your best bet is just click anywhere. And that sort of makes it then work decently. What you're going to want to do with your, just let me check this, my notes here. Okay, with the MikroTik that is on your internet, in other words, the nearer one, you set that guy to station. This particular MikroTik I'm configuring is the far one, and so I'm setting him to station WDS, which is this guy here. So the difference is that the router that would be on the internet is given the mode station, whereas the second one, the one that's further away out in the bush, you give it the station WDS setting. The rest of the settings here would be, for example, for band, same deal, click, and just click on anything just so that it's going to work decent. And in my case, I was using 2 gigahertz only N. It would just depend, I guess, what you happen to need. Again, for channel width, I'll click on anything just to make it work decent. And I'm setting mine to 20 megahertz because we don't have a lot of bandwidth out there. So it really doesn't matter what, like going to 40 would just be a waste. SSID, I'm going to click on it and I'll add the same name for both devices. May or may not be necessary, like you might be able to have 2 names, but hey, I use the same name, it works. That's what I'm going with. For wireless protocol, I'll click on the thing again, I'll click anywhere just so it's going to catch, and then I'm going to move it to NV2. I'm going to move down further to country, click again, click anywhere, and then go back into it and move it up. In my case, I'm in Canada. Now you know I'm north of North Dakota and in Canada. Okay, Winnipeg. Further down the page, and this is quite a bit further down, you're looking for WDS mode, which is here, and you're going to set it to dynamic. Then the WDS default bridge, you're going to set to bridge 1. Then you're going to go back up to the top and click on OK. And I think it should start working. Yeah, I saw some activity. So now To see if it's working, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on, you can see with IP, right now it's showing all the IP settings, which I don't know what they all mean. So I'm going to shrink IP back. I'll go into System, or sorry, go into Tools. So I'll reduce System down. I'll go into Tools. I'll go to Bandwidth Test, Test 2. Now I'm plugged into the 192.168.1.251, like I'm at the far end. So I'm going to test to 192.168.1.250, which is the one nearer the internet. I'll set direction for both directions. Bandwidth test, test to direction. Oh yeah, and then I got to go down here to user. Oops, click on the little down arrow, click on the box and put in admin. Except I better spell it right. So home A. And then put in your password that you set. On the router, go up to the top and click on start. And it starts running the bandwidth test. And you can see here they're talking to each other. So at this point you're ready to take the internet router, which in this case, well, I shouldn't use the term router, they're access points. You can take the access point that you've labeled, like in my case I labeled the one that's going to be near the internet, I labeled it office. And so I'm going to take it now and hook it with its internet cable into the internet. Whereas this other one, the one I marked Wolf's, which is 192.168.1.251, I'll take it and put it, the 500, 600 feet away and connect it to a second access point that's wireless. That's how I do it out there anyway. So hopefully this helps. Any questions, you can message me. Bye-bye. Oh, and something I should mention is now that you've done all this setting, don't forget to go back into your Network and Sharing Center, back into your Ethernet properties. Go down to the bottom here. And with the Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IPv4, you probably want to change it back to the obtain an IP address automatically, because that would then make it work when you plug into someone else's network. That's all.